What's going on, everyone? How are you doing today? I'm going over my predictions for the Chelsea versus Rennes game in the Champions League. What a prediction video. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, school's been kicking my butt. I've had a lot of work recently, so I haven't really been able to upload any videos or record any videos, but I have been able to watch the games so I can keep track of like how their form's going and all that. I do have the notes. I did try writing notes, but again, I haven't had a lot of time. So sorry for not covering the Burnley game. I mean, there wasn't too much to cover because it was a really easy win for Chelsea, but a very good showing from them nonetheless. But that's not the topic of today's video. It is, of course, like I mentioned, Chelsea versus Rennes. To get straight into it, the player news: Christian Pulisic picked up that hamstring injury in the game. In the warm-ups prior to the Burnley game, and unfortunately he's not fit to play in this week's Champions League match. However, Lampard did say that he should be fit against Sheffield in the weekend. Of course, Billy Gilmore is still out, and I listed Kepa as probable. I haven't seen any sources that have said he's either not playing or probable, or doubtful. I haven't really seen anything. There was nothing straight from Chelsea. I didn't see any reports. So for now, for me, at the very least, I just put him as probable, and we're just going to leave it at that. Now for Stade Rennais, Eduardo Camavinga, he's a center mid, I believe. He's their promising youngster. He's out for this match. They have Rugani out and Mawasa out there. I saw some conflicting reports about the other injuries, about other players that are out. So these were the three that were consistent, and the other reports I saw were just not consistent. So I just went with these three because, like I mentioned, they were on every single injury report. Now to get right into the lineups for Chelsea, I went with a 4-2-3-1. As per usual, this could easily transition to a 4-3-3 should Lampard see, depending on how the game's going. I could very much see him making this a 4-3-3. But for the most part, I see him using the same pieces regardless of whether he plays a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. But I just went with a 4-2-3-1 for now. In goal, of course, Mendy. He is playing against his former club. Thiago Silva and Kurt Zuma, the center back pair. And then Chilwell on the left, Reece James on the right. For the holding midfielders, we have Kovacic on the left, Kanté on the right. Now for the attacking mids, I chose Callum Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount, and then Hakim Ziyech, and then Tammy Abraham up top. Now, for me personally, I think that Havertz and Werner need some rest, and maybe it should come against Sheffield. I just think that in these two games between Rennes and between the Sheffield game coming up, Havertz and Werner need some rest. They haven't been tip-top recently. They haven't quite been at the level we know that they can play at, and they've shown this season. I think they just need a break. They just need a second to just breathe and take a break. Maybe they'll come on late. Maybe Werner comes on for Abraham late, Havertz for Mount late. But I think they need some rest. They need to take a breather, take a rest. And like I said, it'll either come in this game or the Sheffield game, but I think now would just be a good time. Rennes are going to be a tough side to break down, and that's why I think bringing on them late or later in the game will be more beneficial to us in order to take advantage of their tired legs and try to expose them, more space and such. That's why, but I just think that they need a small little break before they really lose their form. And because I think they just been a little sluggish lately, so I think they need a break at some point during this week. Now for the subs, of course, the rest of our UCL squad is Kepa, Caballero, Christensen, Azpilicueta, Tomori, Emerson, Rudiger, Jorginho, Havertz, Giroud, and Werner. And probably, I don't know if Lampard will do three keepers, so I'm gonna say Alonso, but I didn't put him on here because he hasn't been featured in the UCL squad, so I'm not sure. But either Alonso or the other youth keeper whose name I am currently forgetting. I cannot remember his name right now, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he'll bring two keepers. Then again, if he brings on Alonso, that's a ton of defenders. So it's tough because we don't exactly have a ton of options on the bench because of injuries or they're just younger players. But we have a good bench nonetheless. Now for Rennes, I went with a 4-1-4-1, the same lineup that they used against, I believe it was Brest in their most recent win in Ligue 1. I went with a 4-1-4-1, like I mentioned, the same exact lineup. I think that they'll just stick with it, especially with the injuries that they just recently sustained. And yeah, 4-1-4-1, a pretty conservative formation from them. But in goal, we have Gomes. In the center back duo, we have Agurd and Da Silva. On the left, we have Delbert. On the right, Traore. Now for the holding midfielder, Steven Nzonzi, who I think will be huge for Rennes and will probably make or break their defensive performance. The center mid duo, Terrier and Lea Siliki. On the left, Jeremy Doku. On the right, Del Castillo. And up top, Girassi. I could not find a pronunciation for any of these people's names, so I apologize if I butchered any of them. I really tried. I tried looking for pronunciations, and I could not. So I apologize if I butcher any of their names. But for their bench, we have Sabe, Grenier, Borigod, Martin, Salen, Huno, Niamsi, Boho, Routier, Bonnet, Chufer, and Ugo Chukwu. So they have a fairly solid squad coming into this. This is the squad that finished, I believe, second in Ligue 1 last season, or third, and there's the reason why they're in the Champions League, and they're currently sitting third. However, their recent form hasn't been too great. That leads us into the last 3 games for Rennes. May as well go over that one first since I mentioned it. 2-1 win over Brest, their first win in their last 5 games, and in Ligue 1. They had the 1-0 loss against Sevilla last week, and then a 2-1 loss versus Angers in Ligue 1 before that. Now for Chelsea, I don't know why I just clapped. For Chelsea, of course, they had the completely dominant 3-0 win over Burnley, the flattering 4-0 win over Krasnodar, and then the solid defensive showing in the 0-0 draw against Man United. Now, as for Chelsea's approach to this game, honestly, Rennes are a they have a solid defensive block. They're a good defensive side. They're a smart defensive side. They play their blocks starting with the midfield, and that's why I mentioned that Nzonzi will likely be a huge part of their defense. You know, you think of Man City and Fernandinho. Fernandinho is a big part of Man City's defense, and when he went down last season, I believe it was last season, Man City really struggled defensively to keep goals out of the back of their net. So I think Nzonzi will play a big part for Rennes in this game and making sure that they keep their defensive solidity. They have a good defensive shape with a solid, compact defense. Now, because they play a compact defense, we will find more space out to the wings. However, it will be difficult to break them coming down the middle. Now, with this being said, though, it being said that the wings will be more open, that's why I personally picked Reece James over Azpilicueta. I think Reece James is the better fullback going forward, and adding another dimension from that right side alongside Ziyech will be huge to try and maybe get some crosses in, get some headers, get some just out there kind of attacks where we can just keep launching in and try to break their defense. And although Azpilicueta does bring more defensive solidity, I think Reece James has been in tip-top form recently, and especially going forward, his crosses have been amazing. He adds a whole different dimension to the right side, and him paired with Ziyech is going to be a deadly combo where we're going to be able to just come up with these crazy out there attacks that Rennes are just not going to be able to deal with. So I think that Reece James needs to start over Azpilicueta to find more so to take advantage of the space that Rennes are going to leave out wide. We need to deal with their defense at lightning quick paces. This has been the theme recently for trying to break these teams that play a sort of defensive block. We need to deal with them by just going. We need to just quick passes, quick lightning pace attacks, and we need to make smart, quick, and solid passing to just break slowly, just keep moving not slowly, but quickly just move the ball around. And what it's going to do is it's going to draw defenders out. It's going to draw defenders out, and we're going to start exposing space. So we can't go at them slowly. We need to just go quick. We need to attack at lightning pace and pull them out of those positions, so that way we can start exposing the space, because we have players that are more than capable of getting in that space and exposing Rennes' defense and making them pay for leaving us so much space. This season, though, honestly, their defensive block hasn't been as effective as recent times. However, they still haven't conceded more than 2 goals in this game, and that's also why I think maybe don't expect a blowout. I feel like if we do get a blowout, it'll be, you know, kind of like Krasnodar, where we didn't fully deserve a 4-0 scoreline. So with that being said, we move to Rennes' sort of offensive approach. They play a more counter-attacking game, but when they counter-attack, they tend to abandon well, not completely abandon, but they tend to start widening their formation when they, you know, start to press the other team on the counter, and they use a lot of short passes. They use those passes to shift the speed at which they're attacking. You know, they start with a slow, calm, steady build up, and then they'll just quickly move it up. That's why they, you know, that's why they do stay a little more compact still. That's why I said they don't really abandon it. That was the wrong word to use, but they do widen to try and create more space and to allow more passes to come in. And what that does is exactly what Chelsea needs to do. It's going to start pulling us out of position, because their movement off the ball is going to be key for them to try and get through Chelsea's defense. Their movement off the ball while they're doing their short passes is going to be key to try and get through us, Chelsea. And we need to, just the defenders need to stay alert and ready. We need to keep our shape and not allow Rennes to expose us with those movements off the ball. Now, they will try to drive players out of position, which means our defenders need to stay alert at all times. We need to always be attentive of what's going on around. You know, Reece James needs to watch out wide. Thiago Silva and Zuma need to, assuming they're the ones playing, obviously, need to communicate and talk about, okay, I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to get this guy. Look, there's one right there. You need to talk. You need to talk. The holding midfielders, Conte and Kovacic, need to communicate with the defense. We need to be in unison here on defense. And then when players come back, like Ziyech, like on the left, Callum Hudson-Odoi, they need to, you know, communicate. They need to be kept in the loop. We need to just defend in unison and with full communication going on in order to make sure that Rennes don't sneak in with some random player and some random attack where they score and suddenly we're on the back foot for no reason. Therefore, when Rennes come on the attack, we need to quickly recover the ball and get forward to catch Rennes on the break, because like I mentioned, they widen. When they attack, they widen the formation. So therefore, when we get in, we're able to maybe go down the center more, because their defense will be a little more spread out. There'll be a little more space. And then if we go at them quickly with some quick passes of our own, we can break through their defense easily and get through and snatch a couple goals, hopefully. I do think it's important that we keep relatively the same defense that we have had for these last few games with Chilwell, Thiago Silva, Zuma, and Reece James on the right. I think it's important to try and allow them to keep building on this confidence that they have. We have 4 straight clean sheets. That is huge for us. That is huge for us. And honestly, keeping the same defense will allow them to keep building that momentum, keep building that confidence. Azpilicueta is the only one that should be coming in and out regularly. Rudiger, another one, he did look solid against Krasnodar when he did play, but I do think we need to keep relatively the same defense in order to, again, allow them to build momentum and keep that confidence on the rising up. Because I'm so confident in our defense right now. And I think a lot of that is thanks to Edouard Mendy. He brings just sort of a stable, just calming presence in that defense that allows us to just keep our shape, keep the communication flowing, and get those clean sheets. Now, these next 2 games against Rennes are must win, honestly, especially if Sevilla win twice against Krasnodar, which they likely will, and beat Rennes again. So I personally think this group will ultimately come down to the rematch of Chelsea versus Sevilla. Hopefully Krasnodar or Rennes pull off some kind of result against Sevilla, but that also comes down to us making sure that we have everything in our own hands. We don't leave it up to anyone else in order for us to get through the round of 16 or to win the group, hopefully. We need to win these games against Rennes, and then we need to beat Sevilla again. Bars. We need to do this. We need to make sure we have our destiny in our own hands, meaning we win our next games. We win at least these next 2, and then we beat Sevilla after these 2 games against Rennes. We beat Sevilla, and then we go against Krasnodar again, which I feel like won't be easy, but should be a game that we win. But for sure, we need to win these next 2 games against Rennes, because more than likely Sevilla are going to win their next 2 games against Krasnodar. So we need to make sure that the destiny's in our hands, like I keep saying. We can't leave it up to anyone else. We need these next 2 games heading into that rematch against Sevilla. Now overall, as per usual, we cannot treat this game as if we've already won. The odds, I looked at the betting odds and they're heavily in our favor. Is a game that we should win. However, we need to go 100% from the start and be ruthless when we get chances in front of goal. Be clinical and make sure we finish what little chances we get, because, well, I don't want to say little chances, but Rennes not going to make it easy for us. Their defense is solid, and again, they haven't conceded more than 2 goals. So I'm not 100% certain that we will blow them out. And again, if we do, it'll be like Krasnodar, where we didn't exactly deserve the scoreline. However, I do think that we can keep a clean sheet and a solid showing, a solid win for our 5th straight clean sheet. And I think the final score, my prediction, is going to be 2-0 to Chelsea. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Go check out my socials in the description. My Twitter is @BlueHermit1. My Instagram is @BlueHermit_. Please share the socials with all your friends, family, everybody know. Let other people know Blue Hermit's where it's at, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.